Hey Glow Girls, Marquette Shepherd here, bringing you another small business spotlight. Today I want to introduce you to Olivia Esquivel. She is the founder of Southern Pressed Juicery in Greenville, South Carolina, and she's just come out with a new supplement collection called Wildcrafted. Olivia, welcome to Glowstream TV.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so much fun to be able to connect in this way.
I know, everyone is just a phone call away, a video chat away, but I must say, I recently had the privilege of visiting you in your shop in Greenville, South Carolina, and I got to take some Wildcrafted Collection home with me. I've been taking it for about a week now, and I can't tell you how good I feel. I mean, I just feel so energetic, and this is great after a year of being in the pandemic. Can you tell me how you got started with first a juicery and then expanded to include dietary supplements like the Wildcrafted Collection?
Yeah, so I opened Southern Pressed Juicery, which is a plant-based restaurant, in 2015, and we really work to help people feel better from the inside out with plant-based foods. And so a lot of times when you go into a juice bar, you'll just see really pretty colors and things that taste really good and kind of some simple concoctions that most people like to make at home. For me, the concept at Southern Pressed Juicery has always been about how people are feeling and sort of how we can lean into plants coming from the earth, fruits and vegetables, different mushrooms and adaptogens to really help resonate with some of the issues that they're feeling, right? You have to be careful with the word heal, these days, but truly help really pinpoint some of the things that they're feeling and which foods that are grown from the earth have always traditionally been used to help some of those ailments.
And you are a woman-owned small business, and I just feel like women are connected to nature in a way that I just can't describe. It really is all natural. So can you tell me about your connection to living an all-natural lifestyle and how you've grown to make this something that you can share with people through your website all over the world?
Absolutely. So I'm from South Florida and was living in Miami and kind of living this plant-based lifestyle, which is easy to do. It's easier to do in bigger markets, right? Because there's more options. You can go out to eat. There's bigger natural grocery stores. And so it was easy for me to jump into it because I had options in the market that made it easy for me as a working woman. And right away, as soon as I went plant-based, I lost a ton of weight, got a ton of energy, and just really felt like how I feel like I was supposed to feel. I felt, energized and centered, and nothing was foggy, and I was at the top of my game. And actually moved back to Greenville because at the time I owned a public relations firm and opened a second office in Greenville and started noticing that it was really difficult for me to maintain my plant-based lifestyle in Greenville because there just weren't a ton of options in the market. Like, sure, I can make it at home, but the Whole Foods was 45 minutes away, and there was just nothing that I could really enjoy on the fly that catered to, very like clean plant-based options. So I created Southern Pressed Juicery just out of a personal need, out of a selfish personal need to fulfill, my desire to eat plant-based on the go. And as I started to grow my family, got married and started having kids, I realized that it's something that all women are always, before when I was in the medical world, we would speak directly to women, right? Whether it was a men's issue or a woman's issue or a ped issue, because women traditionally are the caretakers of the home and of the family. And they're the ones that kind of hold that right of what are we eating for dinner? Or what are we shopping at? What are our kind of core values when it comes to eating and dining and lifestyle, right? And so I just thought to myself, gosh, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one. I've got to find a way to make this more accessible to people in Greenville. And so we started out, you never end up doing what you think you're going to do, right? So it always grows if you just stick with it. But we started out with juices and smoothies and bowls, and man, the thing just exploded. And one of my favorite things to do really is to stand at the register and speak to guests and kind of listen to what it is that they're looking to fix. And that's how I actually stumbled upon Adaptogens, which is what my Wildcrafted Collection is based on. People would come in and they would feel really great, but they hated that they can't take Southern Pressed Juicery with them, right? They were flying or they were driving, and there was only so much liquid they could take with them. And so I started to really think about, how can I take this concept to the next level? How can I make this shelf stable? How can I ship this? How can I make this accessible nationwide? Because we're onto something really good here, right? And we're seeing results in our guests and they're wanting more. So I started to, this is how I developed the juices as well. I start to take notes at the register. And so when a guest will come in and they'll say, I'm really struggling with inflammation, or, my husband's, just had surgery and we're looking to reduce some inflammation or get, increase our immunity right now, of course, in COVID, or I don't feel like my kids are getting enough clean protein. So I'll start to take these notes, right? And they're feeling fatigue and their mental clarity is gone. And after I take the notes, then I start to research, okay, well, what is it that grows from the ground, okay, that exists, that really, really helps with these issues? And as I started really looking at these things that people were feeling, one thing that I really noticed was it was all connected to stress for the most part, right? They were pretty much, every other guest had an issue with stress. Now, maybe was manifesting in a different way, right? Maybe for some people, they were having hair loss, like you and I talked about when you were in our shop.
Yes.
Eczema and psoriasis, and it's manifesting in the physical form in ways that they can feel and see. And that's really, it's a really terrible thing to have to go through, right? And it's particularly because you can see it and other people can see it, and we can't feel our best when things are manifesting in our skin, right? Or people will come in and their just the anxiety is just through the roof, and they don't want to take, all the medicine that they're being prescribed, and they want to, get there to a healthier place, and their kids are feeling it, and everybody's feeling it, right? They feel like they can't get enough energy, right? Like they're having 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day, or God forbid, more than that. They're even reaching into matcha. They're trying to take 5-hour energies. Everybody is just trying to keep their head above water and trying to find a solution because they're feeling just this immense amount of stress. And so, once I kind of really started taking note, there were kind of all of these issues all around, but when it came down to it, all of them were because of heightened cortisol. And so when our stress hormone comes up, whether it's from physical stress, mental stress, environmental stress, emotional upheaval, and just uncertainty about what is going on in this world right now, and when is it going to end, and how are we going to get back to normal? When that cortisol gets elevated, then our body starts reacting to it all in different ways, right? Like maybe my husband and I were living the same reality, we're living in the same household, we're living the same stresses, but it's affecting him in a different way than it's affecting me, right? For me, it's I have like mom brain all the time. That's what I call it. But at the end of the day, it's just my mind is foggy. My brain is foggy. I can't remember from one thing to the next what I'm supposed to be doing. And for him, it's, he feels like he needs to get out and run. He like doesn't have the energy, but he's missing his workouts, right? And so I started researching that and what have people done for years and years, because I'm always fascinated with Eastern medicine and how they really just always leaned and looked to the earth. And I stumbled upon this concept of, or this group of mushrooms and herbs called adaptogens. And they've been around for centuries, and they're mushrooms and herbs and many, many things that, that we know in the US, ingredients that we come across, we just didn't realize they were an adaptogen. We didn't realize the power behind that ingredient and what they've been used for centuries. But essentially, adaptogens are a group of mushrooms and herbs that help your body deal with stress. And they're called adaptogens because when you take them in, they literally adapt to what your body needs. I mean, it's unbelievable, really, when you think about it. But you can take in these mushrooms and herbs without any fear of what they might do to you, right? They're not psychedelic mushrooms, but you ingest them and they just sort of say, she's a little bit off in her fatigue. And all of a sudden, if you've hit the right formula, you're just feeling like you should be. You've got the energy without the 4 cups of coffee. The brain fog disappears, all of that. And so for me, it was like, oh my gosh, this exists. And it's not in a little orange bottle with a white cap on it with a prescription. And so I just leaned into that and started kind of creating these categories. And the 3 major categories that I saw really people were struggling with were, when it came to stress, was brain, right? So mood, mental clarity, anxiety. Then I kind of categorized the next biggest one into beauty, right? Also fatigue, hormone imbalances, inflammation, hair, skin, that sort of, in the physical.
Let me actually pull out some of the adaptogens that I brought home with me. This is the brain, which I've been taking for about a week now. This is the beauty, which I'm starting this week. And here is the energy, which you spoke of mom brain, but this is for men too. Anyone who's battling fatigue can take this, right?
Yes, and that's great. It's great as a pre-workout as well. A lot of men lean towards the energy because a lot of them release stress in that way, right? In their workouts, and they leave it all out on the road and in the weight room, and that's just what they've been, raised to do. And so energy is a really great seller for men, but really all 3 of them are just incredible. Brain is obviously, as you might imagine, the best seller. You can take all 3 of them. A lot of times people will see them and they're like, what do I do? Do I put it on my face? Do I? And so they're crushed up powdered mushrooms and herbs. And I've got some here too. And you take just the tiniest amount, just a 1/4 teaspoon, and you add it to your food or drink. It doesn't affect the taste. Doesn't matter if you add it to a hot coffee or to a cold water or drink, or if you sprinkle it over your salad. And it's just nothing more than mushrooms and herbs. I always tell people, I know it sounds like this magical, concoction, and it is, but don't overthink it, right? Like they'll start getting like, oh, can I drink it? Can I heat it? Yes, it's just mushrooms and herbs. You can even cook with it. The way that we formulated it is because I feel like it's easier to incorporate into your daily life, whether you want to put it in a coffee or over food or in the yogurt. It's just a powdered form that you can just ingest. And it's just a 1/4 teaspoon.
I've been putting it in my coffee in the mornings, and then I'll put a little bit in my cranberry juice after lunch. But I'm on board because, as you briefly mentioned earlier, I shared with you when I was in your shop that I was in a very stressful job recently, and patches of my hair were falling out. And I just took it as a sign from the universe that if you don't understand that you have to leave when people are treating you bad, if you're not listening to that gut feeling that I'm in the wrong place, then the universe said, I'm going to start attacking your vanity. And what a wake up call. I was like, okay, I need to get out of this situation. And so I feel like I'm a freed spirit, not a free spirit. And I spent the last few months healing myself, trying to surround myself with positive people, trying to shield myself from toxic situations. And I truly believe you have to start from the inside out. And that includes what you put in your body. So now that I'm out of that environment, I realize and I honor people who they may not have the option to leave a toxic job, or the negativity in their life may be coming from their home, and not everybody can just up and change their home life. But you need to start somewhere. And that's what the adaptogens do. They offer you a way to balance your cortisol levels, balance the stress in your life through nutrients, super herbs, and things that are good and nourishing to your body.
And if you think about it, we're in obviously a situation globally that we cannot escape, right? We can do our part, we can mask up, we can vaccinate, we can clean our hands, but really very few of us are the scientists at hand that are trying to figure out how to fix this global pandemic, right? And so we're all of us, them included, in a situation, in a stressful situation that we've never been in before in this lifetime, that we don't know how to handle, and that quite frankly, we can't escape. We're in it, right? And so whether or not you're in a situation where you can leave the job or you can leave the house stress, or there is a global rise in stress that none of us can escape. And the only thing we can do is learn healthy and beneficial ways that we can ride through it, ride through the wave, right? And not just try to keep our head above water, but actually find a way to help our body adapt to these changes and these stresses so that we can actually still be our best self, even if it's a little bit different, even if we're a little bit, pulled back and we're having to do things in new and inventive ways, like Zoom media interviews, right? But the reality is we've got to find a way to make ourselves get through this in the best way possible. And for me, that's really, we've heard people talk about there's two ways to take this pandemic, right? You either got fit or you got worse, right? And for me, it's more about what are you doing to be able to survive it, right? Are you trying to find new ways to make this bearable for yourself and for your family and for, your pod? Or are you just giving up? And a lot of times just making a little adjustment like this in your diet and lifestyle and giving your body the nutrients it needs to help balance itself. Okay. Because we're in a situation now that it's unprecedented. So how do we help balance ourselves so that we can be our best self? And a lot of times it's not just, you can't get there mentally. A lot of times you need help, right? And these are, I believe, herbs and mushrooms that were put on this earth for a reason.
Olivia, one of my favorite phrases is, let food be thy medicine.
Oh, yes.
You don't need a prescription to eat healthy. You don't need a doctor to tell you to eat more fruits and vegetables and that mushrooms are rich in vitamin D and it helps to protect your immune system. And isn't that what we all need right now in this pandemic? Immune protecting, immune boosting nutrients made from the earth. Olivia, I am sure people are watching this and they're so excited to connect with you, learn more about adaptogens, learn more about Southern Pressed Juicery. Can you tell people how they can connect with you online or through your website?
Yeah, so they can, you can just visit our website at southernpressedjuicery.com, and there you'll find all of our offerings that we do in the restaurant, and we'll be shipping our juices soon. So that's another exciting thing that they'll be able to get directly to their doorstep. But you'll also find a tab on there for the Wildcrafted Collection, and you can read all about the 3 blends, the Wildcrafted Beauty, Brain, and Energy, and what's in all of them. And if you're curious about, is this going to interact with the medicine that I'm taking or with other parts of my life? These are mushrooms and herbs that you can research, that you can see how, you can talk to your doctor about it, see how they might interact with your, your other things that you're taking or supplementing with. But you can order directly from the website and we'll ship it directly to you. So southernpressedjuicery.com, and on Instagram, you can find us as well, which is on the handle Southern Pressed Juicery.
Olivia Esquivel, thank you so much for joining me on GlowStream TV.
Thank you.
To have your product, service, or business featured as one of the Glow brands, contact us at info@glowstreamtv.com.